Even more moves are coming for the New York Mets, as an insider has revealed a huge free agency update on the team as they are gearing up to keep going and making moves. And this also does involve an update on Cody Bellinger as well, with the situation with the Mets getting more and more interesting when it comes down to Bellinger, while also, regardless, they have more plans, even after making a massive trade for Luis Robert Jr., which, as I said, was a complete robbery of a deal for the Mets. Now they are not done. They have more moves to make, and these are exactly the kind of moves that we want to see the New York Mets going out there and making right now. Guys, we're going to dive into all that because there is a whole lot to go over right now when it comes down to the Mets. Because look, as we know, this team is making moves. They've been active now throughout the offseason, acquiring Jorge Polanco, acquiring, obviously, Luis Robert Jr. now as well, bringing in Bo Bichette. They have made moves. This team looks a lot different. We are looking at a new look Mets right now, where now a lot of their areas seem covered. As I said with the Robert Jr. move specifically, if Carson Bench is ready to go at the beginning of the year, you have your left fielder in Robert Jr., and all of a sudden you got three good outfielders there between Soto, Bench, and Robert Jr., and then Tyrone Taylor is your fourth. However, the Mets, they don't seem finished. They seem like they have more moves that they want to make, according to new reports, even after acquiring Luis Robert Jr. Now, when it comes down to it, there could be a few different moves they make. One of them, obviously, is Cody Bellinger, who I would imagine they still have interest in, even though they acquired a player who makes $20 million. When giving out two guys who really weren't making any money with the Mets, it might make them think a little bit harder on how much they're willing to spend on Bellinger. However, Jon Heyman did reveal that the Cardinals, the Yankees, and the Mets are among many teams who have maintained contact with free agent outfielder Austin Hayes, who was fully healthy and had a very nice season in 2025. Cody Bellinger remains the top target of the two New York teams. So, with that in mind, the Mets are still interested in Bellinger. Now, to be completely clear, this report did come out before the Mets acquired Robert Jr., but nothing has come out subsequently saying that the Mets are not interested in Bellinger anymore. To me, what this means is the Mets are worried that Bellinger is going to go back to the Yankees, and they wanted insurance in the form of Robert Jr. However, we do know Robert Jr. is consistently getting injured, and because of that, you do see Bellinger as a very real option still, and especially because of that, you see Austin Hayes as a real option, a man who has been an all-star before and has one of the best arms in the 89th percentile for how hard he throws the ball from the outfield. Austin Hayes fits in beautifully at left field for the Mets right now. I mean, when we look at everything, the man, he played part-time last season, had a 266 batting average, a 768 OPS, an OPS plus a 105, has a great arm, and gets on base decently enough to where he would be a fine outfielder for the Mets. But there's so much more to this. But before we dive into all the news today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. And if you download it using the link below and enter the code DIGESTMLB, you'll get $20 when you trade your first 100. Now, Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. And on their platform, you can trade yes, no on real life events, whether that's sports, the news, elections, weather, and pretty much everything. And whether you're in New York, California, Texas, or anywhere else across the country, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. Now, for sports fans, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. Now, guys, right now, the NFL playoffs are about to kick off, and what we are seeing is a very competitive AFC right now, and depending on the team that you decide to trade on, you can get a very nice payout. I believe the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, who I think is the best player in the AFC, will pull off being the AFC champions, and we will see Josh Allen play in his first Super Bowl. And if you trade $10 on that, you will get $52 back. It's a great deal, guys. And remember, if you use the code DIGESTMLB, that is DIGESTMLB, you get $20 when you trade your first 100. But let's get into the news today, guys. We have a lot to go over. So all the additions to this, and yes, that ad is going to change. I know the Bills have been eliminated from the playoffs. I watched the game. I'm well aware of it. I will be updating it. But look, when it comes down to the Mets right now and all the moves that they can make, there is still a lot left we could do. I mean, look, First of all, you look at Austin Hayes, and yeah, the numbers are not going to jump off the page in the percentiles, but he is a solid player overall, if we're being real with ourselves. He does add above average fielding run value because of the fact that he does have that great arm. On top of that, even though the batting run value is a bit below average, he is a decent base runner as well. He just gives you a solid MLB player who will be an everyday guy if the Mets need him to be, and could also come out of the platoon. And the big thing about Hayes is that he does have a good bat, especially when facing off against the lefty hitters. I mean, this is his numbers, and one of the reasons why they look pretty good is because he mainly was playing against lefty pitchers. He mashes lefties. He's a guy to look at and understand, all right, this is what he's going to do here. Now, as Mets Bat Flip mentioned, Austin Hayes is a very solid player. If the Mets can't get Bellinger, I would have to think he'd be the next best option. You also see Harrison Bader in there too, and Bader is also an interesting option, one that I do like better than Hayes, if we're being real. Bader is a native New Yorker, played for the Mets before, understands what it's like to play in New York, and he also played on the Yankees as well, and had a 277 batting average last season with the Twins. He was good. He had a nearly 4 WAR. I don't understand why he's not getting more looks in free agency. He's got a great arm. He's a good outfielder, can play center field, so he gives the Mets a guy who can bounce around anywhere and probably grade out very positively in left field if he's going to grade out as a decent fielding center fielder. Steals bases, he can run those bases pretty well, had a 796 OPS, an OPS plus of 117. This is an above average baseball player. The fact that he hasn't gotten a contract yet is likely because of Cody Bellinger, and the teams that like Bellinger will likely pivot to Bader and Hayes when Bellinger ultimately does make that decision, whether that's to go back to the Yankees or to go to the Mets. There are 2 other teams involved as well. I would imagine one of them would be the Seattle Mariners, but also, we know they're a bit iffy about paying people money. The other team, you could go figure, the Giants make some sense, but, you know, this is all speculation at this point. Look, when it comes down to it, Bader is someone who the Mets really should go after because, again, he's a guy who you don't have to play every day if you decide not to, even though he's well good enough to do so, especially if Robert Jr. goes down with an injury. You replace him with another guy who is primarily a center fielder while you wait for Carson Bench, or you have Bench still playing in the minors, so he's getting consistent reps, and then you start with your outfield being Soto, Robert Jr., Bader, with Taylor on the bench, and then once someone goes down with an injury or something, you call Carson Bench up, and you're like, this is how we slide you into everything, this is how we really get things going with you. Now, as mentioned by Buster Only, he thinks that Cody Bellinger makes a lot of sense for the Mets, which he does. Even though the Mets have a bunch of lefties, Bellinger's known for his ability to mash lefties, which does make him a very intriguing piece for this Mets team. And if the Mets offer Cody Bellinger a short-term, high average annual value contract, he will be coming to Queens, is what Mets Bat Flip says. And I agree. If you give Bellinger that Bo Bichette deal, I imagine he comes. Like, I don't think he doesn't like the deal that the Yankees offered him for 5 years and $155 million. He doesn't want that. He wants a 7-year contract. But if you're like, all right, we'll give you $43 million over 3 years, and we're going to give you opt-outs as well, I imagine Bellinger would be like, yep, where do I sign? That's good enough for me. That's my guess, is that if he has another great season and could opt out at 31 years old and try again, that's what I would imagine he did. We just saw that work for Pete Alonso, so it wouldn't be shocking if it works for Bellinger as well. Just hopefully if that happens and Bellinger plays well, the Mets keep him. But look, when it comes down to it, if you could pull off the contract that Bichette's on with Bellinger as well, and we know Cohen can afford it, all of a sudden, it's honestly a great move that gets Bellinger away from the Yankees and also gives the Mets an elite fielding outfielder as well, which, you know, never hurts anybody. But guys, what do you think about this? Who would you prefer? If the Mets can't land Cody Bellinger and they were to add one of Hayes or Bader, who would you want to see them add? Comment that down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I will catch you all later.